Hey guys, I realize that this is so trippy because it's going backwards, so I'm like moving side to side in the opposite way. I always feel like if you have a backwards photo of yourself, it looks better, but not today. All right, so guys, I wanted to chat to I wanted to chat to you guys about bugs, getting rid of bugs. You can see I'm in a different location today for you, keeping it interesting. So I wanted to show you guys, I've covered the name just in case that's not allowed. Um, this is just like, you get this in the supermarket, whatnot, and 80% deep, heavy duty. And I used this when I went to, hey Rachel, I went to Vietnam when I was in uni, and I used this and I just used it on myself, on my skin, because I didn't really know. Well, at least I remember doing that, but it was uni, so who knows what I remember. Let's read the back. Precautions. Avoid contact with eyes, mouth, cell phones, spectacle frames, other plastics, painted surfaces, vinyl seat covers, and synthetic fabrics. Yeah. Might be dangerous, particularly to children, if you use large amounts on the skin, clothes, or bedding, or on large areas of the body, especially if you keep using for a long time. So I know these guys always have to put in these kind of labels, but I wanted to show you that because I never ever thought about reading the back. I just thought, it's fine, don't worry. Don't move or sit. Oh, sorry, I'm moving. It's annoying you, is it? So just not good, not so great. So let's talk about essential oils. Why would we use them? Well, when in a bit of my research, I found that they have ingredients that can kill bugs on impact as well. So as you put it on your skin or whatever, it's not just going to like get them away from you. It can just kill like mozzies on impact. So I know they're much smaller than us, but I just feel like, what's in that? And do you want to be putting that on your kids? And I think that's the point many of us come to when we end up when we become parents, we kind of like, is this safe for them to use? Because I've never really cared about what I put on myself, but now you start thinking, what am I putting on them? The other thing is like using that kind of thing is greasy. It's got a really strong odor. There's lots of reasons that you might be like, no, I don't want to use it. I'll just risk it. I'll just get bitten. I'll stop eating bananas because people always say, oh, you got too much potassium. That's why the mozzies like you or whatever. I think it's a myth. Also in a product called PMD, it's actually derived from lemon eucalyptus, which is in TerraShield. So I'll talk about that a little bit later. Oh, I'm backwards on this camera. It's really hard to see what I'm doing. But why would you go for like a chemical product if you can just go for the actual version of it with the product in it? Well, with the natural plant already in it. That's the question I have for you guys. So why don't bugs like essential oils? Because they have such a strong smell. So you think when they're naturally in nature, they're going to be so much less of a degree compared to when they're in this essential oil form, because it is the compressed version of, cedarwood, for example. So that's when you talk about distilling, and we'll talk about that in our next essential oils basics video. But let's stick to bugs tonight. So in my bug spray, which I wanted to, also for you guys, there's also natural repellers. So when we look at items like cedarwood and like Arbor Vitae, these guys Arbor Vitae is also known as the tree of life. So this tree can live for 800 years. It's absolute, when I first opened the bottle, I was like, whoa, no, too strong for me. And now I absolutely love it. So I'm going to use this in the bug spray that we're going to make up tonight, because even termites, all kinds of bugs, do not touch this tree, and that's why it lasts for so long. It's a big, heavy, long-lasting so-and-so. My bug spray, so when I first made it up, I didn't have TerraShield, or in Australia it's called Terra Armour. So this is the outdoor blend that they've made up with plants that they think, with essential oils that they think are the best repellents for getting rid of bugs. So that's why they call it outdoor blend. So this also comes in like a pre-made spray bottle, and you can just use that when you know, they've got all those great videos of just strolling through the forest and whatnot. And I feel like we're attacked by everything in Australia, no matter what the time of year. And I feel like a lot of blogs are always saying like, oh, now it's getting into summer, you know, if they're American. Oh, it's getting into summer now. Like, it's time to start preparing for the bugs. But in the meantime, we're attacked all the time. When I first made this, I was trying to mimic what was in the TerraShield with what I had. So I originally used lemongrass, cedarwood, tea tree, and peppermint. And I'll just show you that one there. And then I also was trying to get some of the citrus in the lemon and the citrus bliss. But personally, I would stay away from the citruses because they will end up being, as we talked about last week, they can end up being too hot for the sun. So if you end up wearing them in the sun, they can help, you know, burn you and that sort of thing. So I would stay away from it, especially with the kids. You want to keep them to more of the woody oils. So that's that. When we trialed it when we had New Year's Eve at a mate's house, and Mozzies were out, of course. So I was like, oh, I did bring this. I brought my bug spray. So I used it on us, and then I was like, oh, do you guys want some? So everyone there used the bug spray, and everyone there, apart from one mate, said it worked for them. So I thought that was a good test because I had made up this blend by myself. So that was a good one. I also make it in a little roller, well, this is an old one, in a little roller bottle because sometimes I'm not always going to carry around a big spray bottle unless I know I'm like hanging around in a barbecue type scenario. So that one is a good one for that. And also when we went camping, so we used this, like, I wish I had put a massive bottle when we packed for camping, like more like this size, because we used it so much. I even used it on the dogs and they didn't seem to, you know, react to it. They were fine, but you know, that's a personal thing. For March flies, that seemed to be the problem. As soon as we got there, we went camping like mountain type place, and as soon as we got there, March flies, you could hear them coming. They're big, loud, low sounds, like a heavier blowfly, and they're just 10 mils. Yeah, got to get your 10 mil spray bottle. India said you always need to. She's heard that you need to eat more Vegemite. So there you go. I do have Vegemite every morning, and I never get eaten by mozzies, so that's good. What was I saying? So camping, yeah. So Anna and I used it. I spritzed a little bit on the dogs, and we didn't put any on Jared. And they'd just go straight for his legs, and then he'd swat them on his legs. So not that I want to kill everything, but flies, they can go. I feel like they're absolutely useless. So back to the Terra Armor. So this one does have TerraShield written on it. I'll just show you guys what it looks like. This is a US one. Terra Armor is the one, or is it the other way around? Anyway, they've got two different names. They like to confuse us. Lang Lang, which is surprising. Didn't really think of that one. Lemon eucalyptus. So this is the ingredient I was talking about before. That's what's used in all the heavy duty stuff. So why not just source the natural version immediately? Cedarwood and Arbor Vitae, that little one, the little red one I just showed you before, and Litsea. So that's when I was starting to mimic. I didn't really know what Litsea was, obviously, when I first, not really in the citrus form. But here's a surprising one. You guys might think, what about citronella? And that is actually in Purify here. So it's got the citronella plant in there. This is actually what we use in our washing for every load. I use 1 drop in every load. And it just is such, it's got lime in it, it's got lemon in it. It's like a real refreshing full-on blend. I wish you guys could smell, because I feel like every person that opens this bottle is just like, oh, I just touched my lip. Everyone that opens this bottle is just like, oh, love it. So that's why it's got to go in the washing. I just feel like it's so fresh and gets rid of all that musty smell if your clothes sit around for a while. So the good part, which oils get rid of which bugs? So I don't know if you guys want to take a few notes here. I might put this up in like a document afterwards to share with you guys. I did a bit of research throughout a few sources to come up with what I sort of perceived as the number one. So I'll read you the number one and I'll read you the others that are in each of these. So flies, eucalyptus. I see this time and time again. Eucalyptus is the one. So I would say, Renee was saying before that she had eucalyptus. She's got flies coming in the back door, and that's so common because they're trying to get the cool air that you've got, you know, inside. They want to be in there with us. And every time we go to bed, I feel like there's a fly in the room, and it's so frustrating. So eucalyptus is one I'm yet to get, an oil I'm yet to get, although it sounds a bit silly living in Australia. Basil, rosemary, lavender, clove, which is an interesting one, and peppermint. So you'll notice that a lot of these are repeated throughout. So when we make up a blend, I'm just going to put them all in. Mozzies, lemongrass, number one. That's what I feel like has been the most potent in our bug spray that we used. Lavender, juniper berry, surprisingly enough. A good oil for fear, that one. Patchouli, and when I actually had, so we'll often get like little mozzies inside, but Anna never gets bitten. And I think it's maybe because we always have her diffuser on. So for those of you that don't know, if my cord will stretch far enough. So I've got a little diffuser like this in Anna's room. So it's just cold air coming out. It's a little vibrating plate in the bottom that pushes the oil out. So it's safe, it doesn't get too hot, and it actually switches off after the time that you set. So this one's 1 hour, 2 hours, or 4 hours. So when Anna goes to bed, I put it on for 4 hours. We always have lavender, cedarwood. Lately, I've been using Vevita as well, which is quite a very heavy smelling plant, that one, oil, I should say. So I wonder if that's the reason, and we shall see. Cockroaches, number one, eucalyptus again. So we still have a problem with cockroaches because the only thing I've been able to use has been, well, I've just been using lemongrass thinking that was going to work, but after doing this research, I'm realizing it's either got to be tea tree or eucalyptus. So number one, I'd say eucalyptus for these guys. For those of you that live in SA, I know that it's not really a problem, cockroaches, but in New South Wales, it's disgusting. As soon as we moved in, and I remember when I lived in Sydney, same thing, like whopping cockroaches in the city there. We sort of have big ones here, but nothing as bad as over there. And always in like wet areas. So they're always going to be looking for like a drink after you've had a shower. They're going to go to those areas, the kitchen, they're after scraps for food. So they just want to eat and drink like us. But I find that shutting the bathroom windows at night, so in the houses that most of us live in here, we've got like a grid screen, like the cage screens, and then we've got a little gap under the fly screen instead of being absolutely, oh, Jess says Darwin is so much worse. I thought Darwin would be better for cockroaches and cane toads. And yeah, so to the bottom of the screen doesn't properly, I feel like it's not properly sealed in. So they like to crawl under there. And once I was brushing my teeth with the window open and I heard this like weird like flutter sound, next minute it was there in the window. It just freaked me out. I remember my granddie jumping around, squashing one with her bare feet when we were kids. Just like, ah! Jumping with her tiny little kid-sized feet, squashing a cockroach with her bare feet. I'm not doing that. I'm getting a shoe. So eucalyptus and tea tree. Spiders. So I have a bit of theory on spiders. I think that if you leave your daddy long legs around, that you will actually not see any other spiders. And I don't know if it's a myth or not, but they apparently keep away other spiders. When we were kids, we're told that they've got such a powerful bite. Yuck, Kayla says. Peppermint and spearmint. So I'm kind of like, I don't really want to use peppermint and get rid of the daddy long legs because I kind of feel like they're doing a good job. But we want to use peppermint for other reasons as well. So a bit of a trial. I actually vacuumed one up before. And I was like, no, it was just near the back door. He's probably keeping us safe from other nasty spiders. Anyway, test that theory, see how you go. That's why my house always has spider webs on it. Spiders, peppermint, spearmint. Scorpions. So living in South Australia, I was in disbelief when I heard a story from one of our friends here who had a scorpion come out from under her couch. Isn't that the grossest thing ever? And of course you freak out when you hear scorpion. I'm like, no, what? I cannot believe this is true. And then our friend Zoe also found one, took a photo of it, that was just hanging out in her shower. And now we hear all these stories. Oh yeah, I've seen him, I've got him, and all this kind of thing. So the suburb we live in, like we're in Singleton in New South Wales, so we're in the Hunter Valley. But where we live in suburbia, it's kind of like on the edge of town, and then it's quite a bit of scrub. So I don't know if they make their way through, but anyway. When we saw that, we thought, no, we've got to find an oil to get rid of or keep away scorpions, because that is the last thing I want to find. Pretty good with other things, but I don't want to find a scorpion. Lavender seems to be the one that comes up again and again and again, and cedarwood. So I was so happy to keep using that as a I have had a couple of scorpions there, Laurie said. There you go, the proof is in the pudding. So I'm happy to keep using the diffuser with lavender and cedarwood for Anna's room, because I would not want to find one in there, especially because she's got so many stuffed toys and stuff. I don't know what kind of things they like to hide in. I don't even know what they're after. Food. Dust mites. So this is another big one. There are so many different theories to get rid of dust mites, like obviously washing bedding and hot water and all these kinds of cleanly things that we're told to do. I would wash with Purify as well, and I would make up a spray. So actually my friend Jess and I, we had a chat about dust mites, and I was just like laying in bed like, creep, they're on me. I never bin my pillows. They had a due date on them of like December 2014 or something. I just forget. I have since have gotten new pillows for Jared anyway. So I thought, let's get a spray together. I'm just going to use my bug spray. It's got lemongrass in there. I'm just going to spray the mattress. So I felt better, so I could sleep. Just laughing. So they say things like, if you make your bed, you know, the sun's not touching anything inside your bed, so you're more likely to have it. There's so many little tips and tricks. But this is what I found. Again, eucalyptus. This seems like the god of bugs, bug repellent. Rosemary, lavender, tea tree, and peppermint. But I would be, especially if you're focusing on like areas you want to be calm and relaxed, peppermint is such an invigorating oil. Like, it's used in our wake up blends to be like, all right, let's get going. Have a whiff of peppermint and you're ready to face the world. So I wouldn't be using that on anything you're going to spray on your bedding. Pillows, exactly. Kayla said pillows have used by dates. Apparently so. I don't know if all of them do, but did find one that had that date on it. I think when they start to fall apart in your hand, that's when you know time to go. Okay, so dust mites, also known, you know, we call them bed bugs and things like that. Sun is a good one, bedding out in the sun, blah, blah, blah. Ants. Everyone has heard of peppermint oil and ants, I think. But I think the best way to do it is to use a cotton ball. Put a couple of drops, you wouldn't need much, and put them either in the area that you're finding ants are going to, and we can use this as a bit of a test from today. So if you guys have ants, I know I think Jess was saying that she's got ants. She can't seem to get rid of them. So let's try two things. We do in our pantry too, and I wanted to wait for this tonight, and we'll see it a week on from now. Cotton ball, a couple of drops of peppermint in the area that they're going into. Make sure they're, obviously you've got to like clean up and make sure they're not, where are they going? Are they going into like a packet of lollies or something like that? Obviously they're like sugary, tacky stuff. And the other theory is to find where they're coming in and then spray that, like one of these type things. Spray the area with peppermint, door, frame, window, seal, that kind of thing. See where they're actually coming in. The crack that they're coming in, you know, they get in everywhere. Okay, also for ants, spearmint and patchouli. Patchouli is a really random ass one, but a very beautiful oil as well. So that would smell really nice to start putting around. Fleas. So, learnt today, lemon myrtle is really good for keeping away fleas. But crickets, yes, we're going to get to crickets, Rachel. Lemon myrtle, lavender, peppermint, lemongrass. If you're talking about fleas on dogs and stuff like that, it is, you know, important to watch your doses. Obviously, we dilute with kids. It's the same with dogs, even more so. Their sense of smell is so strong, and I'd stay away from tea tree. So this is, again, is a very personal choice. Do your own research first before you decide to use anything on your dog. So I'm going to be doing a lot more research on pets in the next few months as well. A friend of mine, Hayley, was talking about, she's got a dog that's really anxious when they have people come to visit. So it'd be really interesting to see if anything in the area, like a diffuser on with ventilation or something like that, would actually help. So that's a little bit off track. Ants. Shelley, did you hear that for ants? We've got peppermint for ants. So spearmint as well. I really like spearmint at the moment. It's a good one. Been using that with like a citrus oil, and I feel like really invigorated. Okay, this is head lice. So head lice for kids. I know I forgot about head lice since I left school, but now I've got friends that have school age kids. Yeah. So tea tree, eucalyptus, lavender. So a friend of ours, Indy, she makes up a spray for her daughter and sprays her head every single day before school. And Molly has really long hair. So I think that's a good way to go with it. It's protection, you know, this is prevention stuff. So, and habits, you know, continually using something as well. I would also add in a rosemary there as well, because it really helps with greasy hair, or it also stimulates hair growth too. We were talking about hair growth when we were talking about eyebrows, but mine are drawn in, so that's how you do it. No one's got time for that. That's what I hear. Yeah, so Laurie has pointed out a good thing as well. So her bird it's very hard to use oils or anything, you know, smelly, or even the Teflon pan heating up can really affect birds as pets. So we should chat to Laurie. Laurie's a vet nurse, so I think it'd be good to talk to her about the knowledge she has about how these birds are actually so affected. Have we done ants? Yes, Christina, yes we have. And peppermint and spearmint are good ones for ants. Obviously weather and stuff is going to make a change to what's happening. We've had a lot of rain. Well, we've had more rain than we've had most of last year in the last couple of months for us here. So we start to see all the creepy crawlies come out again. Ticks. So this is a good one for our boys that go out field all the time. Lavender was #1, so they'll smell quite nice. But if they're on, you know, picket, you don't want to be putting lavender on there, they'll probably fall asleep. Lemongrass and thyme as well. I think lavender is an important one here because it's going to be good for healing as well, and we'll get to that in a bit. Millipedes, centipedes, tea tree. Tea tree is all I could find on this one. So that seems to be across the board. Tea tree oil is good. So Rhiannon, you questioned that one for millipede. So I think that would be, yeah, a good smelly one for them. It's too potent for these guys to handle. Crickets. Crickets was so hard to find anything on, and I know that Sarah requested crickets, and India was talking about crickets as well. So I find we have heaps of crickets in our shed, but not so many inside. I think I found one, but if you can't find it and it's making a noise and you're trying to sleep, that's not so great. Thyme, rosemary, clove. Rosemary coming up again. I think that's a good one. I'm just looking at the time. I'm going overboard here. Wasps as well. Clove, lemongrass, lang lang, wintergreen, spearmint. There just seem to be so many for wasps. So obviously it's hard if you've got a nest and things like that. I actually had, of course, when Jared was away, you know, it's always when they go away that things happen. A wasp that was, I thought its nest was close by at the back door here. And this is like our laundry. I don't know how to point on reverse camera. Our laundry just in there. So it'd come in this door, and Anna was only like 1. I was like, So you go back there and it sort of like buzzed around. So I opened that. We've got like a back door in the laundry bit. But I opened that, and he luckily went through into that room. And then I shut the laundry door, and then I had to do a maneuver and go around the back and then open the laundry door with Anna in here. So a bit of a story for you. Mice. So Alison actually asked about mice. You will find peppermint requested everywhere for mice. And if that doesn't get rid of them, purify. So ka-ching, that's what I felt like when I found out that this one actually gets rid of mice. So again, it's got lemon and lime, and it's got the citronella in it, so maybe that's got something to do with it. But I feel like when we open these and we're like, oh, it smells so good, they're like, oh my God, get me out of it. Get me out of here. So when we lived in Adelaide, we had, that was the itchy nose from dusting. I was cleaning. When we lived in Adelaide, I was hearing this noise, like a little tinkering on my water glass on the bedside table. And sure enough, it was a little mouse having a little drink out of my water glass. So that was really nice. We used to find them pretty frequently up there. We backed onto a bit of land. And there was one night, one came in the back door, and then Charger would have just like chomped it. Luckily, he didn't see it. He ran around the dog's bed and sort of went out the other window. And we're like, oh, that would have been disastrous. Husbands. No, I don't have anything. I just thought about some rude things to say, but I'll retain. I'll contain myself. So let's make a quick spray. I don't know if you guys can see what I'm doing here. Maybe I'll just hold it up to you. Laughing. All right, so we always use glass. So if you guys missed my last video, we always use glass rather than plastics. We can use aluminium, we can use stainless steel. The reason for this is that these essential oils are very potent and they will eat through low quality plastics. So we said, no, you can read her comment. Cheeky. Now, we're going to use witch hazel in this one. And the reason we use this is because it helps disperse the oil. So if we're just using, obviously, oil and water do not mix. So we're going to use a bit of this. I'm just going to chuck some in the bottom. This is like a cooking show. I'll hold it up for you guys. Just a little squirt in the bottom. I hope that's enough. I think so. We'll just put a little bit of water in as well. I don't want to do this around my laptop. You might see everything go fuzzy in a minute. All right, a bit of water. I might put some more of this in. And based on what you guys have just learned, I'm going to use rosemary, cedarwood. This is going to take ages. Lemongrass. Let's do like 2 of each. Maybe we shouldn't sit here the whole time I'm doing this. Anyway, let's fast forward. Let's pretend one I preferred earlier. I'm going to use tea tree. I'm going to use juniper berry. I'm going to use spearmint. I'm going to use peppermint. I'm going to use arbor vitae. I'm going to use more of this than the others. Probably 2 of each. What's this? I think this is about a 50 ml. They come in ounces in America. I've got no idea. Lavender, TerraShield, Purify. Let's just put it all in. Everything we've learned. Yes, Renee just said witch hazel is also good as a facial toner for oily skin. Sure is. It's good. And it smells better than vinegar. Vinegar you can also use, but no, it smells disgusting. Oh, nearly spilling things. So, what else? The other thing I wanted to tell you guys is if you saw my live video during the week, this is what we call our heal spray. Some people call it owie spray, but I didn't like that name, so I changed it to heal. We've got lavender, tea tree, and frankincense in this, and we use it all the time. So this is like Anna's go-to. I've got a sore leg, I've scraped my knee, etc., and we use this. But I wanted to mention on this video because it's really, really good for bites and itchies and anything that, you know, if none of this stuff you've taken with you, you can come home and at least know you've got a bit reprieve with this. So the reason we use the lavender, it's really soothing. We've got a bit of antibacterial in the fractionated the frankincense, and it's also like the king of oils, so it gives everything a bit of a boost. And tea tree as well, so a bit of the disinfectant oil there. I think the thing is that when we use oils for getting rid of bugs and stuff, we're just trying to send them away. We're not trying to say, we're not trying to kill them or anything like that, although I know there's some you'd want to kill, but you'd rather just keep them away so you don't have to go to that point, because sometimes it's gross and scary if you don't like spiders. I know that's a real fear. And this also gives you another way to use your oil. So, these are things that you're taking off of your supermarket shopping list, or things that you don't have to buy at all, ever. And I know that if you go camping or you've got a holiday, all these little bits and pieces can become really expensive. But investing like some of the basic oils and even making up your own blends based on your own research, I think is pretty cool. And of course, it's really good to use actual plants as well, like planting a lavender, planting a peppermint plant. And my mum has a garden centre for you SA folks called Clemson Garden Centre. So go see her if you want the real version. And if you want the oil version, come see me. All right, I hope that was good, guys. Let me know any questions that you've got, or if you want me to post this up for you guys to see as a quick list of my research. And I will see you this time next week. Thanks, guys. Bye.